What? The tariff war is still going on? Trump could put a 50% tariff on EU goods. What is it that this means? How this could affect you? That's going to be the topic of today's videos. Guys, welcome to the Modern Survivalist channel. If you want to learn more about preparedness, not with a fear and paranoia, but simply objectively analyzing reality for what it is and preparing accordingly, a ton of information already here in the channel, specifically for this topic in terms of inflation, loss of purchasing power and quality of life, and a lot more. Surviving the Economic Collapse. This is probably the best book for people that are worried about the economic scenario and how this affects you and your life. As also you have Survival Skills, both books available in Amazon, following the links below. It is similar in many ways, but this is something that you don't quite understand up until the moment in which you go with a supermarket and you wonder, hey, what happened with the money in my wallet? Why is it that I don't have it anymore? Where did it all go? Why am I all of a sudden poorer than I was a couple months ago? People don't quite get this, but they will. Believe me, they will, because you will have no other option. Let's analyze this a little bit more.
Let's get back to our top story. President Trump threatening 50% tariffs on the EU starting June 1st. Joining us now from Europe, Bloomberg's Brendan Murray. Brendan, welcome back to the programme, sir. Only a few hours ago, we were talking about the situation between the EU and the US. This is difficult to deal with. The president says the Europeans have been very difficult. Brendan, what is the state of play with conversations?
Well, the state of play is that neither side has agreed to the terms that the other side has put forth. So we're pretty much at loggerheads. There's going to be a phone call later today between the trade negotiating teams in Brussels and in Washington, and they're going to try to get things on track. But at the moment, the EU-US trade talks are at a standstill, and you saw what the president tweeted this morning. A 50% tariff on European imports would be pretty devastating to that relationship. So don't know if that was a sort of motivational attempt.
I don't know if they're trying to be dishonest. The one that pays whatever tariff there is, if there's 20-50%, whoever ends up paying it, it's always going to be the consumer. The person buying that product is the one that pays for it. And maybe you don't realize it, but let's say it's you're buying a car, you're buying whatever it is. There's so much interconnection, especially in the world in which we're living now. All of a sudden, something that is completely unrelated, and but this is not from Europe. Why is it that's costing 30% more? Well, because the steel being used that came from Europe, or the plastic, or this or that, whatever little piece that ends up affecting the price makes it more expensive all of a sudden. It may not even be that. It may simply be a matter of the macroeconomic issue here, which is the numbers in the red. The instability, the uncertainty of the rules by which we play the financial game. If we don't know what's going to happen, if we don't know if there's going to be zero tariff, 5%, 10%, 50%, money is scared of uncertainty. So whoever is thinking of starting a business, investing, doing anything, any kind of new business that you don't do anything until you know the rules you're going to be dealing with. This freezes the economy in all aspects. It's not just about US and Europe. It's about all of the world economy watching this and going, okay, let's wait. And let's wait. And then let's wait some more. And it's been months like this. And it is not only that, but the actual tariffs of, no, we have a great solution. It's going to be 10%. Did you know that before you had none of that, you have maybe 2% tariff? So all of a sudden, you have a 10% tariff. Oh, but they were talking about 150% tariff with China. Yes, that is idiotic. That means you don't have any trade at all with 100%. And again, for people that still don't understand this, if I'm saying that Europe or China, whoever it is, has a 50% tariff or a 20% tariff, it means that you as a consumer in the United States, you're going to pay that. And this thing, no, but they will have to eat it up. No, money never eats shit. Business, Walmart, the corporations that benefit, it's the only language they know, they will always send that your way. They will never eat their own profit. In the worst possible economic scenario the world has ever seen, companies only saw maximum profit. When energy was supposed to be at its peak expensive, when oil was supposed to be at danger because of the war in Ukraine, these companies had the most profit they've ever seen, while at the same time, they were telling you that they were raising prices because of whatever, because of COVID, war, this and that, whatever bullshit. They always use that to screw you over. It's crazy.
On European imports would be pretty devastating to that relationship. So don't know if that was a sort of motivational attempt for the president to try to get Europe to see things more the way he wants them to. He listed in this post on Truth Social the VAT tax and stiff corporate punishments and something something about monetary issues, and so kind of vague language, but pretty much of a laundry list that he wants Europe to address. And apparently Europe's not willing to do so at this point.
Brendan, do we have a sense of what the catalyst was for this truth this morning? You talked about how it's unclear whether this is just to get some more concessions, but is there any sense of what triggered it?
Yeah, you could make a case that it's this conversation that the two sides are going to have today to kind of add some fresh threats to those talks. Chinese President Xi Jinping has been calling around to European leaders this week, saying, "Hey, let's try to keep our relationships close on the economic front." So it's hard to say what the motivation was, but there was definitely a reminder this morning that the president wanted to send that he still wields this tariff threat, and he can do some economic damage with it if he follows through. Now, we've seen him make big threats like this before and pull back. So
it's crazy. It's crazy that they keep using this language of the threat of, and again, I feel a lot of people don't understand the threat of me imposing a 50% tariff on China, me saying that I'll punish China by charging my own people 150% more for those Chinese goods. It is a threat that, man, you're threatening some other nation with self-harm by punishing your own consumer with much higher prices. It's the kind of thing that China will say, yeah, okay, go do it. I don't care. And in many ways, it's the same thing with Europe, especially when you go into your tariff is the VAT tax. Dude, that's not a tariff. That's something you charge on your own end because that's how you run your country, and it's nothing new. It's actually been something that's been going on for a long time. And yeah, they have a different way of doing taxation than you probably do, or the idea of, no, now you need to accept bleached chicken in your food chain. That's never going to fly. The average consumer that is used to having a much healthier standard of food will never accept that. And what's more important, they will never have the political gain of bending to that sort of demand. No politician will ever do that because it will be political suicide back home for these people. So no, you're not going to get to sell bleached chicken in some of these countries that have different food standards. And that's not a tariff. That's just different standards that you have. Maybe some of these that you should have yourself, which, by the way, Robert Kennedy Jr. is doing many of these things himself in the United States itself. So how the hell do you expect to have other countries change their own food standards when you yourself are adjusting your own to theirs? You want to have healthier food standards. I don't know if it will happen or not, but many of these additives in food, the red color that was something that's being discussed a lot lately, you're changing those. Why the hell do you think that you demanding that they change something that you're not willing to accept anymore yourself? It makes no sense. And I know it's this 4D or 5D chess that Trump is supposed to be playing with, and I don't know, man. The only thing that I do know for certain is that this creates a lot of what you see there. This creates a lot of uncertainty in the market, and it's going to be extremely punishing for the consumer all over the world, but certainly in the United States as well. See you later, guys. Take care.